By 23, Micah had learned to read a chart faster than most people read a room. Candlesticks, liquidity sweeps, volume spikes, funding rates, macro headlines, market structure. He lived inside them. While other people his age spent their nights scrolling aimlessly or arguing about sports, Micah sat in a blue-lit apartment with 3 monitors open and a notebook full of setups, convinced that if he could just master the movement of money, he could master his life. At first, the market seemed to reward that belief. A trade on Bitcoin broke perfectly in his favor, then another on Solana. Then an altcoin runner he caught early turned a 4-figure account into something that looked, to his family and friends, almost mythic. Screenshots got passed around. Group chats lit up. People who had barely answered his texts before were suddenly asking for insight. His younger cousins called him a genius. His uncle joked that Micah would retire before 30. Micah laughed, but privately he started believing the joke. He upgraded his desk, bought a better chair, a more expensive watch, new sneakers he did not need. He began speaking in the subtle dialect of people who mistake momentum for identity. He said things like, "I saw what everyone else missed," and "Once you understand the psychology, it's obvious." At church, he still thanked God in public, but in private, he was increasingly thanking himself. Then the market changed. Not all at once. First, it was one overconfident trade, then a forced re-entry, then an overnight position he told himself was high conviction. A liquidation wick took a chunk. A revenge trade took more. He began breaking his own rules in the exact order pride usually breaks a man. Certainty first, patience second, honesty third. Weeks turned into months, and the account that had swollen so fast started bleeding out with almost theatrical cruelty. Gains he had boasted about disappeared. Then capital he had promised himself he wouldn't touch. Then money he had quietly assumed would be easy to make back. What shocked him wasn't just the loss, it was how quickly his peace vanished with it. He had thought the money was a tool, but once it started leaving, he discovered it had become a place of trust. One night, after another brutal stop-out and a string of trades that looked more like self-harm than strategy, Micah shut off all 3 monitors and sat in the dark with the strange, nauseating emptiness that comes when your secret idol starts collapsing. He said out loud what he had been resisting for weeks. "I don't think I ever wanted money. I wanted to be untouchable." The sentence hit harder than the losses. For the first time in months, Micah didn't open another chart. He didn't search for a reset strategy or a comeback setup. He knelt beside the bed and surrendered the whole thing. Not just the money, the need to win, the need to look impressive, the need to prove he was gifted enough to secure his own life. "God," he said, "I have been trusting uncertain riches and calling it wisdom. If you give, it's gift. If I progress, it's gift. If I ever trade well again, I want it to be with you, not instead of you." Nothing external changed overnight. No angelic buy signal appeared. No miracle candle reversed his losses. But something deeper changed immediately. Micah became teachable again. He returned to the charts humbler, slower, less hungry to dominate them. He started each session with prayer, thanked God for daily bread before chasing extra, sized down, took fewer trades, stopped treating every green day like proof of superiority and every red day like an attack on his worth. And strangely, as his dependence on wealth weakened, his discernment sharpened. He saw better, waited better, managed risk better, walked away more often. Over time, his results returned, not in the explosive, ego-drunk way they had before, but with stability, strength, clean growth. Months later, he was making more than he had in the first run-up, but now the money no longer owned the emotional climate of his soul. Because Micah had learned the lesson the market had beaten into him, and grace had translated. Riches are uncertain, pride is blinding, and every truly good thing, every insight, every gain, every provision, every step forward, comes from the Father. The market had once made him arrogant. Then it had humbled him. Finally, surrendered to God, it became something better, a place of partnership. And from that day on, every good trade ended the same way. Not with boasting, with a quiet smile and the words, "Thank you, Father."